Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the NBA slate on DraftKings for Thursday, May the 30th. We got game one of the NBA Finals between the Warriors and the Raptors. I'm actually recording this video on Sunday, so I'm actually recording this like 4 or 5 days before the game starts. But since DraftKings already has the salaries out for this Showdown slate, we pretty much know who's going to be playing. It doesn't look like Durant's going to be playing. Doesn't look like Boogie's going to play game one either. Iguodala is probable. We've pretty much got all the injury news we need, so figured I'd go ahead and get the video out for you guys, give you guys plenty of time to watch it before the game starts on Thursday. So like we've been doing for these Showdown videos, we're going to go through the player pool, start at the top, work our way down, talk about all the options that I'm going to have in my player pool. We'll talk about the guys that are actually going to see minutes. We'll also look at different roster builds, look at some roster builds with an expensive expensive guy as your captain. We'll look at some different roster builds, maybe if there's a cheap guy at your captain that I think is a viable option. We'll talk about building a lineup that way as well. Just before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video, and if you are new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below. I'm going to be making these NBA videos till the finals is over with, until the NBA season's officially over with, so if you do plan on playing these Showdown slates, I would highly suggest you subscribe to the channel so that way you won't miss out on any of these videos. But let's go ahead and start at the top. So Kawhi Leonard is our most expensive option. He is $11,800 today. If you want to play Kawhi as your captain, it's going to cost you $17,700 of your salary cap. I think Kawhi is a viable captain here. It is very close between him and Curry on who to play in your captain and who is going to be the top play on the slate. Right now I'm leaning Kawhi. I like him here at home in game one. I expect Kawhi plays very well. He was great in the Milwaukee series, was playing huge minutes. I don't think anything's going to change here. We're going to see Kawhi playing 40, 41, 42 minutes a night during the finals. And with no Kevin Durant, that's one of the Warriors' probably best defenders that has a chance at slowing down Kawhi. I imagine Kawhi's probably going to be guarded by Iguodala, who is also a pretty good defender, but Kawhi's just so good offensively that he can really score on anybody. I expect he's going to continue to put up big numbers, pretty much a threat for a triple-double almost any night. Love Kawhi here. Slightly prefer him over Curry, but obviously you can't go wrong with Curry either, especially with Kevin Durant off the floor. Stephen Curry is going to be a usage monster, going to be taking a ton of shots every night, 20 to 25 shot attempts per game, I would imagine. He's obviously going to contribute in the other categories as well. He can get rebounds, he can get assists. He's also a threat for a triple-double on pretty much any night. So Steph Curry and Kawhi are obviously the two top studs to pay it for. I slightly lean Kawhi, but I'm sure I'm going to have plenty of lineups where I have both guys together because there are some cheap plays I do like on this Showdown slate. But now looking at some of the other options, Draymond Green at $10,600 I think is definitely a really good play here. He was great during the Portland series, was playing huge minutes, was producing as well, finished with over 60 DraftKings points in the last two games of that series, had a triple-double in both of the last two games. Draymond's going to continue to play well with no Kevin Durant. He's going to be facilitating a lot. He's been relied on a little bit more for scoring as well. We saw him score 20 points in Game 4 of that Portland series, or Game 3 of the Portland series. So, really like Draymond as well, but I do prefer Curry over him, and I do prefer Kawhi over him. Pascal Siakam at 9K, it's probably a guy that I'm going to go a little bit underweight on. I don't really like him in this series at 9K, and just at least in Game 1, I want to see how he plays in this matchup with the Warriors. I'm sure we're going to see plenty of lineups where we have Siakam at the 5. I don't know how much Marc Gasol is going to play throughout this series because Golden State can go small, can force you to go small. Siakam could be an interesting play, but he's just so closely priced to Klay Thompson and to Kyle Lowry. And I think I do prefer both of those guys. Thompson is $600 less. He's going to continue to play very well, going to continue to give you consistent numbers with Kevin Durant off the floor. Thompson's going to play huge minutes as well. He's going to be playing 40-plus minutes a night. His usage rate with Durant off the floor is like over 30%. We know Thompson's going to take a ton of shots, 20 to 25 shots per game. He can get you some rebounds and some assists as well, but the scoring is where Thompson does a lot of his damage. And if he's going to continue to be playing these amount of minutes and going to continue to play or continue to take 20 to 25 shots a game, hard to ignore Klay Thompson at $8,400. But this is actually a slate where I really like Kyle Lowry at $7,800. Lowry, I think, is a guy that I'm going to be pretty heavy on here. He was very good against Golden State during the regular season. I know one of his really good games came with Kawhi off the floor. But Lowry, I expect, plays well here against Golden State. I like this matchup for him. playing against a Warriors team that does push the pace, that's going to allow Lowry to get more ball handling, get more opportunities for assists, for rebounds, for scoring. It's just going to have more opportunities for him to have the ball in his hands. He didn't take a ton of shots throughout the Milwaukee series. He did a lot of his damage in the peripherals, like getting rebounds and getting assists. He did have double-digit points in all 6 games of the Milwaukee series. And we saw him pick up 25 points in, I think that was Game 4, where he had 41 DraftKings points. That was his best game of the series. But even to end the series, he was playing very well. Just for fantasy, 36, 38 DraftKings points. At 7,800, I really like Kyle Lowry today. I don't mind playing him and Leonard together. Just obviously you don't want to load up on too many Raptors. You're probably going to want some Golden State guys in there. But Lowry and Leonard I do like quite a bit today. Also, Andre Iguodala at 6,600. I really like here coming back from his injury. I expect he's going to get back to playing his normal amount of minutes. I think he's going to be the guy that guards Kauai throughout the series until KD is able to return, if he is able to return. Iguodala is going to be looking at huge minutes. I expect whenever Kawhi's on the floor, they're probably going to have Iguodala on the floor. Before his injury, Iguodala was playing pretty well. He wasn't playing that great during the Portland series, but this is just a whole another matchup against Toronto. During that Houston series, Iguodala was playing huge minutes, was giving you good production, and he's down to 6,600 on DraftKings, so I actually like him quite a bit to fill out my final play of about 3 of 6 plays. But after we get through looking at all the players, we'll also look at some roster builds. We'll build out a couple lineups. Leonard, Lowry, and Iguodala are 3 guys that I really like on this Showdown slate. Marc Gasol at 6K I talked about a bit. I said I'm a little bit worried about this matchup for him. Against Golden State, I'm not sure how long or how much he's going to be able to stay on the floor. I think we could see Gasol's minutes come down a little bit throughout this series. So for that reason, he's probably going to be a guy that I just kind of wait and see on. Don't know if I'm going to be going too heavy on him in Game 1 of this series. Fred VanVleet played very well last game, or the game before that. He's continuing to play big minutes. His fantasy production wasn't that great in the last game, but the minutes were there, 34 minutes, 37 minutes the game before that. I expect VanVleet's going to continue to see these minutes coming off the bench. You don't really know what kind of production you're going to get from him, and with the $5,400 price tag, I think there's other guys I would rather play for cheaper. But VanVleet's going to at least be someone that I leave in my player pool because he's going to continue to see big minutes coming off the bench, and you could randomly spike an upside out of him. But a guy like Pavan Looney at 4,800 is probably one of my favorite values on the slate. Ever since Durant got hurt, and since Boogie's on the bench as well, Pavan Looney's been seeing a lot of minutes, at least 24 minutes in all 4 of the Portland games, 24, 29, 27, and 29 minutes. He's been productive as well when he's seen the minutes. He got a double-double in Game 4 of the Portland series. In Game 2, he had 14 and 7 and 2 and 29 DraftKings points in 29 minutes. I think we're going to see Looney coming off the bench playing about 27 to 30 minutes, somewhere in that range. So at 4,800, he still remains a very good value in my opinion. He's a guy that I will definitely be looking to today for a cheap option. And then punt value plays, there's not a ton that I love. Norman Powell's just not getting the minutes right now, so it's hard for me to have a ton of confidence in him. I know it's a totally different matchup and it's a totally different series, but I think Fred VanVleet's the guy that the Raptors are really going to rely on. So he's the guy they like coming off the bench. So for that reason, I'm a little bit scared to roster Norman Powell here. Danny Green just doesn't have the upside that I want. Fonzo McKinney is going to continue to start for KD, but we don't know what kind of production he's going to put up. The 2 games that he did start for KD, he had 18 and 15 DraftKings points in 21 and 26 minutes. He's probably going to play mid-20s in minutes. He's not the worst value at 2,800, but I just don't know if he gives you the upside to where you really want to go too heavy on him. My favorite cheap play is definitely Looney at 4,800. He's a guy I expect to have the most of as a value, but that's it for all the players I feel like I'm going to be playing on this Showdown slate. Let's go ahead and look at different roster builds. We'll build out a couple lineups real quick before we end the video. So I do like doing lineups with Kauai as your captain. So if we want to play Kauai and let's try and build out a lineup with Kauai and Curry together. If we put those 2 guys in there, that leaves us a little bit over 5,200 remaining per player. So we are obviously going to need some value. I do like Looney at 4,800 as a value play. If you want to play Kauai and Curry together, you're probably going to have to punt with a value. You could look to Fonzo McKinney. I didn't talk about Jordan Bell much. He was seeing about mid-teens in minutes coming off the bench. He did actually start in Game 4, but he only played 14 minutes even though he started. So even if Bell starts again, it's hard to have a ton of interest in him just because the minutes aren't really there. Looney, I think, is still going to be the guy they give the most minutes to. Same with Sean Livingston. He's going to see about mid-teens, maybe low 20s in minutes, but you don't really have a ton of upside out of Sean Livingston. McKinney's probably your best cheap play to go to. So if we want to play Curry and Leonard together, and if we want to play Leonard as our captain, we're probably going to have to go to a guy like Fonzo McKinney. So let's plug him in there at 2,800, and that now frees us up some salary to where we can get to maybe an expensive guy. If we want to try and get Kyle Lowry in there, that would leave us enough to play Fred VanVleet, who is a guy you could look to. So that's definitely a roster build that you could do right there. It's going to be pretty hard to play Leonard and Curry together. Just building out some lineups real quick. There's not a lot of value that I really like. You can probably play Leonard and Lowry, or Leonard and Curry together if you go with a cheaper captain. So if we go with a guy like maybe Kyle Lowry as our captain, that should definitely allow us to play Leonard and Curry together. That leaves us a little bit over 5K when we build out that lineup. So if we plug in Looney at 4,800 as our value, if we go to McKinney at 2,800, then you have enough to play Andre Iguodala at 6,600. So that's a build that you could look to do. Leave some salary on the table, have a little bit of a contrarian lineup. Don't mind doing that as well. But like cheap captains, there's not a lot of cheap captains I really like. Like I guess Pavan Looney would be your best cheap captain play. But in order for him to be a good captain play, he's going to have to score you close to 35, 36, 37 DraftKings points, somewhere in that range. I don't know if Looney really has that kind of upside in him, but if you want to build out a lineup with Looney, it's going to look really good because you're going to be able to fit in a lot of the studs. You're going to be able to play Leonard and Curry together. You could probably fit in like Thompson and Lowry as well. Plug those two guys in, that leaves you 3,400, so you could put McKinney in there at 2,800 if you want to go that route. But I expect a lot of my builds are going to start with Leonard at captain. It's just going to be hard to play Leonard and Curry together just because there's not as much value as I would like. There's not a ton of cheap plays I feel very confident in. So like a lot of my lineups where I have Leonard as my captain, I'm probably going to have like a lot of Thompson and Lowry, a lot of those mid-tier guys. It's just going to be really hard to play like Leonard and Curry together if you play one of those guys in your captain just because there's not enough good value, like I said. But I think that's it for this Showdown slate, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. Hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed the video, just make sure you click that like button down below. Make sure you subscribe if you have not already. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. Or like always, you can hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. Feel free to message me on Twitter if you have any questions. But I think that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and good luck on Thursday. Peace.